Rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers, and welcome to Women's View on Ahlulbayt TV, the show discussing Islam through the voice of women. Now, today's show, we have a very interesting show lined up for you all. And before we begin the show, I'd like to first tell you the layout of today's show. Once again, if you tuned in last week, we talk on the topic of the show, and then the last 15 minutes we talk about the hijab awareness campaign, which some of you may already know of, while else others will be explaining it today, inshallah. Now, so for those that have just joined us, I'd like to tell you that we're launching a hijab awareness campaign. This is a global campaign. All the women around the world, no matter where you come from the east or the west, you can all take part in this global hijab awareness campaign. Now, more details will be posted on the internet and on our website, and we'll be having a show dedicated to this cause, inshallah. So more details will be posted on soon. So inshallah, the last 15 minutes of today's show, we will speak about that. But today's show is the importance of gaining knowledge in the light of Imam Hussain. As you all know, that the prophets and the imams continuously stressed on the fact that we must all gain knowledge. The acquisition of knowledge is incumbent upon every Muslim. So it's really important for us to gain knowledge. So inshallah today we'll be speaking about the importance of gaining knowledge. What did the story of Karbala teach us in regards to gaining knowledge? And also some tips or advice that we would like to share. Or even if you're sitting at home and you have some tips or advice or any comments regarding this, inshallah, do call in or send us an email, inshallah. Now, once again, this is a live call-in show, so if you would like to call in with your views or opinions, then please do call in with the number on the screen. We would love to hear from you. Alternatively, you can email us at womensview@ahlulbayt.tv. Inshallah, I'll receive your email instantly in today's show, and inshallah, read it out in today's show. Now, once again, today's topic is the importance of gaining knowledge in Islam in light of Imam Hussain. I'm your host, Zahra Al-Alawi, and today with me is Sister Salma Jaffer. Assalamu alaikum. Now, that was a long introduction, but it had to be said. But today's topic is, gaining knowledge, and this is something that many people speak of, but when we have to go and gain knowledge, many people may, like the sister was telling me recently, she goes, I no longer refer to textbooks in terms of gaining knowledge because everything's on the internet. And, sometimes people know the importance of gaining knowledge but don't actually go and seek the knowledge itself. So first of all, to start off with, what is the importance of gaining knowledge?
Well, to start off the conversation or the debate in regards to knowledge, I can probably start off with the basic fact that our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has said that seeking knowledge is actually obligatory for every Muslim. So from this, the fact that, knowledge is the utmost importance for every Muslims in this world, it's important for us to gain knowledge. There is no doubt.
Definitely. Yeah, it does, like you said, I mean, I think the term ilm or knowledge is referred to in the Quran like more than 780 times, and then we see the prophets continuously stressed upon the fact of gaining knowledge. But now it's we're in the month of Safar, and we went through the month of Muharram, and we commemorated the death of Imam Hussain and the story of Karbala. But what does the story of Karbala in specific and Imam Hussain teach us in terms of gaining knowledge?
Well, if we look at the whole tragedy of Karbala, right? Imam Hussain, he left Medina to approach Karbala. He didn't say that, I'm going to leave and go and fight and I'm going to be martyred because I want the power, and I want to be the leader of everything. His message simply was that, I am doing this to enjoy good, because if I allow evil, that's not acceptable. So he left with the cause of enjoying good. And that if he never did what he did, it would have allowed all the evilness to come around. The people would have corrupted everything, and that was simply not acceptable. So his message simply is to enjoy good and to forbid evil, and by doing what he did, he allowed good. And therefore this is the prime message of the whole tragedy of Karbala. And again, knowledge allows us to develop ourselves. It allows us to sort of open up. It allows us to remove ourselves from the kufrness to the light. And this is important, because if you have no knowledge, how will you improve? If you have no knowledge, how will you seek and transfer knowledge to others?
Definitely.
And we have to continuously look at the prime messages of all our imams, not just Imam Hussain, but all our imams, including the 12th Imam who is in Ghaiba at the moment. Their prime message was to seek knowledge and to transfer knowledge to people. And that is just in the whole concept of this is enjoining good and to forbid evil. And so we have to sort of take this into consideration and implement in our lives, that we have to gain knowledge, seek knowledge. We have to understand and not just blindly do whatever comes our way, and then transfer it to others. And by doing this, we're seeing the imams and the Ahlulbayt as a role model, and this is what we're supposed to do.
Definitely true. It's very important, when we look at the characteristics of the Ahlulbayt and every individual that was present in Karbala, we see that they were the prime examples of individuals that attained knowledge and that had knowledge. And I just remember a hadith from the Holy Prophet that, as we all know, that the status of martyrdom is the greatest status that someone can gain in terms of, of being a shaheed. But I remember the Prophet said that, I read somewhere, the Prophet said that the ink of a scholar is greater than the status of a martyr, than the blood of the martyr. And in the day of resurrection, that they'll weigh the ink of a scholar and they'll weigh the blood of a martyr, and the ink of the scholar will be greater than the blood of the martyr. And I mean, when someone reads that, that's amazing, because we all know the status of martyrdom and in Islam, but then we find that the ink of the scholar is greater, which is really, really great. I mean, we have a lot of questions posted on Facebook regarding this when we advertised it, so we have a few of their comments to read out. But before we go on to that, I wanted to ask, in terms of, like you said, that if someone, the importance of gaining knowledge is great, and we see this upon hadiths and hadiths from the prophets and the imams. But at the same time, when someone has knowledge, and what's the importance of spreading it? Because in terms you have knowledge, but the importance of spreading, can you speak more about that?
Sorry.
In terms of, if you have knowledge, what is the importance of spreading it? Like, not keeping it to yourself, but rather spreading it and sharing it with those who may...
Okay, in fact, in Islam it says that if you know something, if you have the knowledge of something, it is wajib, it is obligatory on you to pass the knowledge on. So if you see something wrong and you stay to yourself and you don't go and tell them that this is actually wrong, please do not do that, you're getting seen for it, because it's your duty as a believer that you should go and sort of sort the things out, and if you don't do that, then that's wrong, that's not right. So spreading knowledge is very important, and I advise every viewer that if they see something wrong and they're knowledgeable and they're educated and they know that something is wrong, rather than keeping it to themselves, they should, and we should ourselves, go and try and stop the evilness coming into the society and spread the truth. This is, again, it refers to what I said before, the imams, they were all trying to spread the knowledge, and so we have to look at that and not do the opposite of their personality. And the opposite of their personality is to just sit there and allow the evilness. And if you allow evilness, then, the world will be corrupt.
Definitely true.
And this is one thing that we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid the corruptness.
That's true. I mean, the Prophet constantly talked about those that have knowledge and do not share it. The Prophet said that he compared them to donkeys that carry weight on their back, in terms of, even in the Quran it says, I think in chapter 62 verse number 5, it talks about those that had the Torah but didn't take charge of it, or that's why it led to corruption in terms of, you know, us Muslims, that if we have the knowledge, then we must share it in order for it not to lead to corruption or anything like that. But let's read some of the comments of our viewers posted on Facebook. Now, this is brother Muhammad Al-Alawi, and I believe he's from Saudi Arabia. I think I checked. He's from Saudi Arabia. He says, "May Allah bless you all. Why do some people waste their time with learning things with no benefit?" Now, it's an interesting question, and I probably think that many youth people may believe that they're gaining knowledge or they're seeking knowledge, but as the brother puts it, the knowledge they're seeking has no benefit. What would you say regarding that?
Well, it's true. It's true in a way. And as Muslims, we should try and gain knowledge, knowing that it will benefit us. And not just us, but it will benefit people around us and the society or the community. You know, so we should sort of, find things and put it in a specific way where we, go towards something that will benefit us and the society rather than, something that will not have an effect on anything. However, being a Muslim doesn't mean that, you should be spending all your life in, just learning and spreading the knowledge to everyone. There are, there is always a balance. You can always enjoy life too. It doesn't always have to be education. It doesn't have to be knowledge, and it doesn't have to be strict rules. You're allowed to go out and have fun. You're allowed to do anything you want. But, there are lines where you should make sure that you don't cross. But then, sometimes people go, if you're spending so much time in, reading things and, going into things that's not going to benefit you all the time, then that's a problem. But if that's a very minute and majority of the time is spent in something that's going to benefit you, then there is no problem in that. Definitely. It depends, what concept the brother is talking about. If it's continuously and all the time, then yes, we shouldn't really be doing that, because again, from the Ahlulbayt, we have to try and do the right thing, and that is to learn, to educate, and to spread knowledge. And if it's something that you can't really spread because it's nothing to benefit us, then it's pointless.
Definitely true. I think it depends on the analysis of knowledge that doesn't benefit anyone. I feel like, especially living and born in the West and living in the West my whole life, I feel like any forms of knowledge is kind of beneficial in terms of if I learn about my society or the society around me, although I may not agree with all their principles or agree with everything they may share, especially when going to their educational institutes and going to their universities, I feel like gaining general knowledge is important, and sometimes it may not be of any interest within me, or I may not agree with what is being taught, but at the same time, well, that's my personal opinion, I feel like when you gain knowledge about the society around you or anything, it's good. But like you said, there may be some aspects of knowledge, or that's what probably the brother's referring to, that may have no benefit whatsoever. And there's sometimes I feel like people go down routes that the knowledge they gain or any kind of information they gain leads them astray more than takes them towards Allah. So that's probably what the brother refers to, and I've seen that happen quite some time, that people go and they go down the wrong routes in terms of gaining their knowledge. But it's it's an interesting debate, because we have hadiths that say that gain knowledge even if it's from polytheists, or gain knowledge even from non-Muslims, and so it's a debate. You could debate whether what kind of knowledge you're gaining or what benefit you're gaining from them, and whether it's beneficial or not. But there's a follow-up question to the brother, so it links in perfectly, because after the brother commented on that on the internet, a sister followed up. She said, "Good question, brother Muhammad Ali." I think the sister's called Fatima Latif. I'm not sure where she's from. She says, "Some people really waste their time with nonsense and gaining knowledge which is of no benefit. I would also like to ask, can someone gain knowledge from anyone, as in even the non-Muslims? And have the prophets or the imams said anything regarding this? May Allah bless you all and make this show continue." That's all. Thank you very much, sister, for your kind words. And I think this is a follow-up question to the brother. It kind of links in, but in terms of gaining knowledge from non-Muslims, what would you say regarding that?
From my opinion, I think you can. because we shouldn't really see in a way that, you know, non-Muslims are, you know, useless people, and that we should not listen to what they have to say. You know, everyone's a human being, and non-Muslims sometimes come up with very good things as well, you know, and the things they come up with also does benefit you too. So it's good to listen to everyone, and it's also good to converse with everyone as well, regardless what culture they are and from where ethnic society they're coming from. However, you know, if you know that something is not right, or the concept they're coming up with is just not right according to your religion, then you just listen them out, but do not go according to what they say. As in, don't bother, you know, implementing in your life, you know. But then it's always some, you know, at the end of the day, you always use your logic. You know, if it logically makes sense, then of course you go for it. But if it doesn't, then, you know, stay away from it. But that doesn't mean that, you know, the conclusion is, it doesn't, you know, non-Muslims, it's not, it doesn't mean that you can't, you know, converse with them and you can't listen to them. And sometimes they have, you know, sometimes their opinions are better than what our opinions are, you know, and it does benefit, it does help as well.
That's definitely true. Like we discussed, it really depends on what kind of knowledge you're gaining in terms of if someone gains or trying to gain their principles or their, you know, or their religious rules or the laws regarding religion from non-Muslims or polytheists, then, or any type of person that doesn't abide by the Islamic rules, then obviously that doesn't abide by our rules and our beliefs. But at the same time, I think, you know, everyone out there has benefits, even the non-Muslims and anyone, and we shouldn't kind of single out where we take our knowledge from. Like, you know, the famous hadith that everyone always mentions, that the Prophet said, gain knowledge even if it's from China. I mean, China even then wasn't a center, the center of theological studies or theological
That's right.
beliefs. So in terms of, he said even from China, where that wasn't an institute or a country which really abided by the Islamic rules, like in terms of studies, but he said that. So it is kind of gaining knowledge or acquiring knowledge from everyone, but being careful of what you pick your knowledge from, like you said, like the Prophet said, that he said that any type of knowledge that doesn't help a man in his way towards God is like knowledge which is carried up, or he compared it to a donkey. I can't remember the exact words, but basically any knowledge that doesn't help you in the way towards God then is of no benefit. So it's really a debate that can be discussed.
Anything that attracts you and you know that it relates to the religion, you should go for. And anything that goes against religion and you know as a fact that it doesn't sound right, then you should maybe stay away from that.
Definitely true. We'll go back to our discussion, but there's some questions that were posted by Roshan Ali, and I believe that this was very interesting discussion, and it's something that many of us do face, or many families do face, especially living in the West, maybe in the East as well. But these were very interesting questions, and they posted 3 questions, so we will go through them. But we'll probably not discuss them all before the break because we're approaching the break. But let's discuss one of those questions and then inshallah discuss more after the break. Now, they were talking about in terms of parenting and motherhood or fatherhood, and in terms of having a child and you know, okay, let me read the first question out. It said, how can a mother inject Islamic knowledge on children who are adamant on not even adhering to the basic Islamic acts? It becomes very disheartening after some time, though mothers carry on with the teaching of deen. That was the first question. We'll move on to the others. But in terms of, especially when we find in the West that because many parents, they come from a different country, many of them, probably most of our parents have come from the East, and we've been born and brought up in the West. So in terms of many youth, and I've spoken to many youth, especially when I went to a conference, it was, you know, majority, there were youth in the workshop, and I was saying we don't connect with our parents no more. You know, they don't listen. Some youngsters don't listen to their parents because they're thinking they're not on the same mentality. They don't have the same mentality as us, and sometimes it does become difficult. So I believe the sister said, how can a mother inject Islamic knowledge on children who are adamant on not even adhering to the basic Islamic acts? What would you say regarding that?
Well, to start off, answering that question, the first and the basic things is that when a mother is pregnant and she's obviously expecting a child, the first and the basic thing she should do is, sort of behave and implement religion in herself. Because in Islam we all know that, whatever mother does when a child is in the stomach, the qualities of a mother transfers to the baby in the stomach.
Definitely.
So what you eat and what you drink is their food too. It's all connected from the mother to the child. Everything that you watch, everything that you listen to, everything that you do, your behavior, even the thoughts, whatever you think in your head, that's affecting. So if you're continuously angry and frustrated and, show a lot of emotions, your child will have those qualities. Because this is what you spend so much time in, that emotions, that it's transferred to that child. If your child wants if you want your child to have goodness, then you have to make sure that the mothers are goodness. And they implement all the goodness of religion in order for the child. I know every mothers know this, but this is the basic, So mothers should, recite the Quran, go and listen to majalises and, implement all the good things, the goodness of the religion. And inshallah, the child should be, of that quality where there are the followers of Imam Hussain and the Ahlulbayt, inshallah. And, to answer this question, my advice would be to, send them to a religious class where they can then start, understanding religion and what it's about, because there comes a point where children would not listen to their mother or the father. But when it comes to others, like other scholars or other individuals who have the knowledge, and when they teach, it's more of impact, and it's not all the time, but it just comes to a point where that, like the sister says here, that they're not adamant of listening to anything or even abiding by the basic rules of Islam. Someone else should step up. Definitely. Because these are our kids, and we have to do everything we can. So someone would have to step up, or, like I said, to go and enroll them into some kind of a madrasa that takes place once every week or something. Definitely. Or even start, attending majalises. Not in the beginning will it have an effect on them, but gradually, once all this is, happening and taking place, then they would start changing. So if you put them into a madrasa, after some time they will realize the truth, and then things will change. Change does not happen overnight. It does take a while.
That's definitely true.
If you take them to centers every time, whenever you get the opportunity, you make sure that you take them regularly until the change happens. So you can't just say, okay, I'm going to take them for tonight only and that's it. That, they should change.
Definitely true. I think we should speak more about this as well, because it's a very important issue, inshallah. We're just approaching break time, so inshallah we'll take a quick break and then go back. Join us after the break where we discuss this topic in more depth, inshallah, and talk about the hijab awareness campaign. Join us in a few minutes. Wassalamu alaikum. This is a live call-in show, so if you would like to call in with your views or opinions, then please do call in with the number on the screen. We would love to hear from you. Alternatively, you can email us at womensview@ahlulbayt.tv. Inshallah, I'll receive your email instantly in today's show, and inshallah, I'll read it out in today's show. Now, once again, today's topic is the importance of gaining knowledge in Islam in light of Imam Hussain. I'm your host, Zahra Al-Alawi, and today with me is Sister Salma Jaffer. Assalamu alaikum. Now, that was a long introduction, but it had to be said. But today's topic is, gaining knowledge, and this is something that many people speak of. But when we have to go and gain knowledge, many people may, like the sister was telling me recently. She goes, I no longer refer to textbooks in terms of gaining knowledge because everything's on the internet. And sometimes people know the importance of gaining knowledge, but don't actually go and seek the knowledge itself. So first of all, to start off with, what is the importance of gaining knowledge?
Well, to start off the conversation or the debate in regards to knowledge, I can probably start off with the basic fact that our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has said that seeking knowledge is actually obligatory for every Muslims. So from this, the fact that, knowledge is the utmost importance for every Muslims in this world, it's important for us to gain knowledge. There is no doubt.
Definitely. Yeah, it does, like you said, I mean, I think the term ilm or knowledge is referred to in the Quran like more than 780 times, and then we see the prophets continuously stressed upon the fact of gaining knowledge. But now it's we're in the month of Safar, and we went Shaitanir-Rajim. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers, and welcome to Women's View on Ahlulbayt TV, the show discussing Islam through the voice of women. Now, today's show, we have a very interesting show lined up for you all. And before we begin the show, I'd like to first tell you the layout of today's show. Once again, if you tuned in last week, we talk on the topic of the show. And then the last 15 minutes, we talk about the hijab awareness campaign, which some of you may already know of, while else others will be explaining it today, inshallah. Now, so for those that have just joined us, I'd like to tell you that we're launching a hijab awareness campaign. This is a global campaign. All the women around the world, no matter where you come from the east or the west, you can all take part in this global hijab awareness campaign. Now, more details will be posted on the internet and on our website. And we'll be having a show dedicated to this cause, inshallah. So more details will be posted on soon. So inshallah, the last 15 minutes of today's show, we will speak about that. But today's show is the importance of gaining knowledge in the light of Imam Hussain. As you all know, that the prophets and the imams continuously stressed on the fact that we must all gain knowledge. The acquisition of knowledge is incumbent upon every Muslim. So it's really important for us to gain knowledge. So inshallah today we'll be speaking about the importance of gaining knowledge. What did the story of Karbala teach us in regards to gaining knowledge? And also some tips or advice that we would like to share. Or even if you're sitting at home and you have some tips or advice or any comments regarding this, inshallah, do call in or send us an email, inshallah. Now once again, through the month of Muharram, when we commemorated the death of Imam Hussain and the story of Karbala. But what does the story of Karbala in specific and Imam Hussain teach us in terms of, gaining knowledge?
Well, if we look at the whole tragedy of Karbala, right? Imam Hussain, he left Medina to approach Karbala. He didn't say that, I'm going to leave and go and fight and I'm going to be martyred because I want the power. And I want to be the leader of everything. His message simply was that, I am doing this to enjoin good, because if I allow evil, that's not acceptable. So he left with the cause of enjoining good, and that if he never did what he did, it would